What's good YouTube, and welcome to the house. I legitimately have never had so many people tell me about a singular buyout in the entire community, and it happens to be Prank Kids Fansies. Last night live on stream we saw this was completely out of listings at one point, then it went to $18, $17, somebody listed at $5, those disappeared. He was just trying to make actual sales as everybody tried to list ridiculously, and I was telling people this is a really bad buyout, and people were standing it, they were defending it, they were like, this is the best Prank Kids, it's going to go up really hard. This is why it's a bad buyout. People are going to have their copies in hand. This is a set very thirsty for value that people were waiting for any little movement to be able to sell something, and we do see that pan out just as I said on Stream Resource Gaming here. 170 copies at $3. So if you bought this out, you spent over $3 on some of your copies to make this disappear to no listings. You're going to be waiting for them to come in the mail as competition continues to ramp up, because anyone wanting to sell their fansies now has to undercut the $3. You now see $40 under that. Yeah, they're going to keep taking less and less and less. You should have gone after the cards in Prank Kids that already historically were expensive and should have spent more on that buyout if you actually wanted your money to move for you. Now, the flashpoint for this all happening seems to be Pack's channel. Pack is a really good duelist. He uploaded some Prank Kids profile. Meow Meow is coming. It's not his fault for uploading a profile and people going after specifically this card because they see it as the best one. It's people throwing their money at the screen and heading towards it. I personally would think of things like Prank Kids Place, which is pretty much off the market, so people did go after the correct ones, and then the secret rares would make a lot more sense than the super rares, and you do see the secret rares running out of listings for things like cock-a-doodle-doo, so people are somewhat in the right direction with some of these cards. Bow Wow is also a secret rare that I would consider before going after super rares in a set that would love anybody to buy and open it. But that's just my take on it. What do you guys think of the Prank Kid Fansies buyout? Do you think there will be a round 2 as whoever did the buyout gets theirs in, tries to make them disappear again? A third one? Man, you're looking at a lot of money to make it disappear now, aren't you? And that's why it's a bad buyout. Evenly Matched is missing from the Charmer structure deck. Oh no! Konami seems to be back to its old ways just a little bit, and that's kind of sad. Dark Ruler No More did make the structure deck Evenly Matched. It seemed too good to be true, but Konami's held their deal on the end of that bargain so many times. Ash Blossom made it in structure decks. Drone Lockbird, cards the community said wouldn't make it, made it in, and finally one misses the boat. Replaced by Regeki? A card that we got in the Megatins that has almost no value. Oh boy, Common Regeki. Konami, what are you doing? So this is probably going to start going back up in price throughout the day. I would suggest getting your copies sooner than later. Konami's done this dance and pony show so many times where they make people thirsty for a card. They do play their own secondary market, and then they put it somewhere else that's harder to get, like a March reprint set again. So if you are in the market for this card, you were waiting for it, please use that TCG player link in the description down below, costing you nothing extra to support the channel directly for the cards you'd already be buying if you need it immediately for remote duels. But I will suggest that Konami's likely, because they opted out here on purpose, will be reprinting it somewhere down the road if you're not hurting for this card or wanting to play it immediately. Now for the Mage Power Market Watch. Mage Power was here live on stream yesterday, and he actually had a ton of good cards to suggest, and we're going to go through a lot of them, so I actually don't know what a lot of my tabs are still. I've refreshed them all for prices, and he had tons of cards I actually didn't know had jumped, along with other stuff that's kind of basic B Market Watch stuff like Inzectors. Number F0 Utopic Future is back up in price. It had trailed down for a little bit, but getting the Prismatic Secret Rare version, despite you having recent commons that are very cheap, this is the highest rarity, and people are still looking forward to that OCG card where you're going to be able to just smack it on top of this card and be able to play it and it be pretty good. So there's a new card, basically, to explain it better, that can overlay on F0 specifically, and that's the easiest way to make him as a material. Humanoid Slime is up in price. This makes absolutely no sense, and I don't know who was even watching this card. I don't think this one was actually Mage Power, but it might have been. And so this came up in stream that, wow, Humanoid Slime collectability has been going up in price. Who the heck bought out this one. This is worse than the fancies ones in my opinion, but it's old, Keck Dub. So if you have this in bulk, be aware you have money, and some Merrick cosplayers might want to buy a first edition from you. Alchemaic Magician is up in price. The lowest copies are $4, and it continues to disappear. The effect isn't that good for the amount of materials you need. 3 level 4 spellcaster type monsters. You gain 200 attack for each spell card, specifically in the graveyard. Then once per turn during the end phase, you can detach a material and send the card from your hand to the graveyard, so you even have to pay a cost to choose a spell card from your deck and set it in your spell and trap zone. So a quick play would obviously be the best. It's just not worth the materials in modern Yu-Gi-Oh! It's a card that hasn't had a reprint for a very, very long time. She's up there with Downward and Akshik. She's in lore, I guess. But really, wow, over time, some weird buyouts have been happening. Neo Galaxy Eyes Photon Dragon Ultimate Rare is not its ultimate form because, well, you have a ghost rare of this card that is much more collectible, but it's up first market price. The unlims are around $18 if I'm not mistaken still, and it's been around here for a while despite the market price and what it's saying. People settle and buy the damaged, I assume, but the first editions are going to the moon towards $42, 40, 43, etc. Plenty of people lined up here not really trying to compete and slash throat on each other. So it's still there on market, and I think it'll come back down a little bit over time. This one has always sold pretty hot to buy list though. Number 7 Lucky Straight has a Keck W moment here on Market Watch. We see it's around 7 some odd here. So matching the number, and again matching the number. Wow, a first edition at 777. This was the lowest last night. We see somebody willing to sell it at 5. Oh, thank you so much. The number hunting's getting very real. This guy doesn't have a reprint for a secret rare form, and the first editions are gone. That's pretty much the point of this. These prices are not realistic. If you're hoping to get 200, even 100, ain't nobody paying that. But it has been bought out, so maybe if you try to list it at a more realistic price, you will get an auto sale right now, and this could get a reprint at some point in the TCG, but it's been largely overlooked. Number 11, Big Eye. This is kind of a mid-rarity now, even though it's its original rarity. You see the unlims aren't jumping, but the first editions have been recently bought out, $30 to $40. The ultimate rare has just been going up over time, which is now the highest rarity, and people are giving a looky-loo back to Dragon Ruler format in first edition, and it's still actually, by today's standards, whenever rank 7s come into play, this is still highly considered to be played in those decks. Now, in Zector stuff, I don't think you actually play this guy. I'm not too versed on modern Inzectors, and we'll have to see how the new card plays. This is a rank 5, and once per turn you detach a material from this card to target a monster your opponent controls are in their graveyard, and you equip it, and this just gains attack and defense. I guess you could pop their Buster Whelp and get to use it yourself at some point. I don't know. But the ultimate rare is just up there because it sounds good. Now, Zecalibur is something you definitely do play. It has an ultra version and an ultimate version, and we see the ultimate is at 20 lowest for unlims, and the first editions are ridiculous at 30 and above. Inzector Exabeetle is a card that never got a reprint, I don't think, and the Orcs version here, let me double check that. I don't want to be wrong. Inzector Exabeetle, I don't believe ever got a reprint in Yu-Gi-Oh! I could just be wrong though. Let's see. Nope, yeah, only one copy. It has an ultimate rare in the OCG is why I get kind of wonky on it. His unlimited is at $13, and then the first edition is up at $17. Again, always a card that I like to hold because it has one copy, and it actually has some decent effects. You take 2 level 6 monsters. When this card is actually summoned, you can target a monster in either player's graveyard, equip the target, so it has that first effect. This card gains attack and defense equal to half. Once per turn, you can detach a material from this card, target a face-up card on either side of the field, send those targets to the graveyard. Send, not destroy. That sounds a lot better, doesn't it? Now, here is Gigamantis, which is, you might note, a level 2, 4, 6 to go along with that. And he's a card that the deck likes to play. His ultimate rare form, well, it's been bought out to ridiculous proportions, $20 for unlims. And the first editions are way up there. Again, they won one win a card. We don't even know what the win a card is. You're spending a lot of money on this stuff, guys. Like, I hope you use my TCG player link to do some good for the channel while costing you nothing extra to support the channel directly, but I wouldn't have necessarily gone in on anything but the bottom prices that they were at to resell. Unless you're a true Inzektor fan and you're coming back to the game and this one card's gonna change your life. It's like a clickbait title. Number C39, while we're still in Orcs, has gone up in price. It has Utopia and it's Ghost Rare. This used to be considered one of the trashiest Ghost Rares, and we still see a French one sitting at 32 before the Unlim English are at 38, quickly going up, and then the first editions sit above 50 at 60 some odd dollars. Yeah, Ghost Rares just keep going on up, even the ones that were considered bulk. This was like a bulk Ghost Rare to people at one point, despite the Utopia name. Wind up carriers in Matey, people keep saying ban the Hunter, bring back the boat, ban the Hunter, bring back the... Let's see where the first editions are at. The Unlims have been creeping up for some time. It looks like first edition has indeed been bought out. I didn't know this one. I think I missed this one on stream. Up towards $30. Not a ban list channel, by the way. Gaga Girl was shocking. I know this is a collectible. I know she looks like Dark Magician Girl, and the Zexel kids are some of the last that got in the game and are buying up their nostalgia. Unlims are still around $6. She's been higher priced for a good amount of time. But when we look at the first editions, up towards $30, holy heck. That's not worth it, and I think it's going to continue to come down from here. I don't know when the actual buyout was. Good buyout actually on the big brain 500 IQ buyouts. Gaga. If you're in Farfa's stream, we've just been conditioned to love her. But jokes aside, I think that it's an interesting buyout to actually go for the collectability on first edition. Not the worst one you could have gone after. A tour bus from the Underworld to go with tour guide has been bought out. I don't think this is that playable. It has other cheaper versions, but $12 lowest for Unlim and $15 for first edition. It's just Farfa's Girl on a different card art. Back-to-back Farfa buyouts. Mermail Abyss Baleen. A complete joke of an ultimate rare. His Unlim isn't going anywhere too crazy, at least it wasn't last night. Yeah, it's still around $3, so it's kind of a bulk ulti in a lot of people's eyes, but the first edition actually got bought out. Why are you guys like this? Why, for any first edition ulti does it for me? No, stop it. Not everything can be worth money. This is a pretty bad buyout. I think motivated sellers will come back over time. You'll see this listed at 10, at 8. Like, who's actually... I gotta complete my Mermail collection. Mermail, Blanian lore. The Whale, the Hammer. I don't know who's really after these. Adrius, Keeper of Armageddon. Man, the old school collectibles, he's at $16 lowest for first edition, and you see him really stick around there. It's up in market versus its market price. First edition has been hard to get for some time, and the juxtaposition of Tyrus is also up in price. You see the Unlims are also around $6, but the first edition, only one listing at 10. So if you're trying to collect old secret rares, it seems like people are really throwing money at odd-off random secret rares, especially ones that have less printings. Steel Sword Moroch has a couple of places in meta history. You see the Unlims not too crazy, but still up versus market price versus $7, and then the first edition's not too far away at $14. Levier's Ultimate Rare did a jump and a hoop and a to the moon on the market. Well, the Ultra Rares have now followed that path. We see one Unlim here around $10, which is a newer listing, and a ton around $15, and then the first editions are towards $15 too, versus a market price of $7. Then again, it's an ancient card with a lot of sales, so I actually don't know its history versus market price, but I do know it's up right now versus where it was at. Let's look at Overmind Archfiend Keck W ? Its ultimate rare has also gone to the stratosphere as people are $16 for Unlims. First edition's around the same price. Let's read this card. I actually didn't read it last night. A Psychic Tuner specifically, plus 2 or more non-Psychic Tuners. What's this thing's level? Is it 8, 2, 4, 6, 8, 9? Ooh, a Trishula like one. Once per turn, you can select a Psychic type monster in your graveyard and remove it from play. When this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, special summon as many as possible that were removed from play by this effect. It's a non-hard once per turn, but you'd have to do loops. It self-replaces when you link summon, I guess. I haven't seen a combo with that in it, but interesting. Chaos Hunter has been a hot tech of the format that multiple people have suggested on their channels, and I see now that the unlimit is towards 22, pretty big brain buyout, and the first editions are 25. This is a card I would have kept over time anyways. I would have always not sold them at their lower prices, $3, $8, maybe towards 12 I would have been tempted, but we do see the market prices around 11 to 12, and now because of those actual sales to buy it out, it is way up in price. We'll see how that falls out. Definitely a great tech option and something to just keep for multi-formats, because like Lancey and other cards, it comes back time and time again. We see Dragon Knight Draco a Quest. Again, the bulk ulti, or the bulk ghost more so, not ultis, but also bulk ultis, I suppose. Keep going up in price. I'm losing my mind here at the end of the market watch. We see the unlims are up towards 90, and the first editions, where you at though? Near mint 145. Again, these used to sell for $3 back in my day. These cards are too much. Now, a card that is interesting as we get new Infernity support is Stygian Street Patrol. You can see the market price is actually 10 from sales, and the unlim, we have one cheaper here before it does spike to 9, and the first editions are kind of gone, which is why the market price is so up towards $30. So if you have this card, you like this price, it could get secondary buyouts as we approach Infernity support, but I don't know about that one. I would probably be trying to sell this card. English aside and stumbling over my own words because I'm actually excited over my content and enjoying it. Thanks for watching today's video. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. I just felt like crawling out of bed and getting through this market watch because there's so many cards, really like 2 in 1, but so many are just random or happenstance or things that are going crazy, and the market's relatively insane as people now target secret rares on like old school secrets along with those ultimate rares and those ghost rares. I think with secret rares, I pointed this out a long time ago. Are these undervalued? Are these slept on? And it seems they were, and people are finally really pushing their money towards them as the last buyout while we're still in lockdown. Like, you know, you had all the other scramblings. Now they're like, what's left? Ah, the secret rares, and they've kind of gone after them.